All right. Hey guys, what is up? It is Tim. It is September 2018. It is your monthly package I'm bringing you of all your programming goodies. It's not just the facility programming overview, your weekly videos. I want to show you a whole bunch of other things that I've been working on for you. So if you feel like hey, I haven't seen Tim's awesome Instagram stories in a second. Yes, I know. I've been back here in the war room grinding for you, and I'm so excited to show you everything. We'll start off with the monthly programming. Then I want to get into actually where it's going to be stored now for you moving forward, because there's so many different documents I'm sending out, from the weekly videos, the instructional playlists, the coaches and team development, the programming, the pre-comp work, the time block videos, the streamlined programming. That's all going to be set up in your own folder now. Here will be labeled September 2018. It'll have your facility programming, if I can get over and move my screen, like this in there. And then you're also going to find the full PDF programming all laid out for you in here. So it'll be stored in one spot. Active Campaign doesn't let me send 5 different PDFs in one email, which is dumb from a email thing. They say it's because it gets caught in spam folders. So I say they should figure out a way, right? So all that, the regular programming will be in here. Your streamlined programming will be here also. It's also labeled streamlined at the top of every day. And again, know that this fits exactly in with what we're doing on the main programming. It's no different. It's not boot camp. It's not side crunches and calf raises. It's hard fitness training, just streamlined with a little extra time for instructional parts on there. So that's how we did that. You'll also find all the accessory work. I added 2 new pieces for you on this thing this month moving forward that I'm really excited about. All the pre-class competition work is here on its own document, so you can see it. Otherwise, the Google Doc just can get a little cluttered, right? I know sometimes when coaches get added in there and they might hit a button, it changes something that got updated and it's not how it should look, or all that stuff happens, right? I'm not blaming anyone, but we know that sometimes those docs aren't as forgiving here. So that's in there. At the top here, you'll also see, it'll say end post-class work. I added in like some functional bodybuilding, correctives, and mobility work that could be done either at the end of class if you have extra time, or that could be done after class, as in post-class. That is pretty simple stuff that people can do on their own, like a wall sit and skull crushers, pretty low skill work, rows, curls, and a hollow hold, YTLW for your shoulder and banded pull downs after some shoulder work that day, doing some handstand push-ups, I believe, or shoulder to overhead. All that's in here, the pre-class and the post-class, the pre-class competition, the post-class kind of accessory work. Again, that's your call. If you think there's time to do it at the end, it's made to fit with a class as a nice cool down, or it's something that the way we would run it is just put it up on a sideboard at the gym and people can do it on their own as they're kind of cooling down. It doesn't take much equipment. Nothing's going to be equipment heavy there to end up. So that's there for you. Also, the coaches development training, which you'll have another video of me explaining this for you. I know enough Tim already, right? Who wants to hear more of me? You want to get back to training, but we put it in there for you. It's your monthly coach development, which is different than staff development, which I kind of do as sales, phone, Zen Planner, etc. This is going to be more coaching and interaction based for what we want on the floor. So we have that, from assessment and warm-up protocols, movement selection that we're challenging people to learn new stuff, and then training protocols and understanding we want to work on. So that's all here. It's going to be in your folder called September 2018 Juice Facility Programming for you. I'll have that out here to you in a second. But right now, we want to go over September 2018 while I take a sip of my water and we get into it. Couple things to note for the start of the month. This is block 4 out of 4, or 3 out of 3. So we have 4 weeks in this cycle. We are building up to our final testing to retest most of the things we did at the start of the cycle. Some things fit better that we tested a little earlier, like you'll see some we did last week on the end of block 2. Some of them, most of them will be leading up to the end here. You'll see we're retesting the clean and jerk, retesting the quad burn workout, retesting the pull-ups on there, and some adjustments. So because we're at the end of this block, that means less intervals, because intervals is how we use to build up more volume. We build up volume to turn that into intensity. So intensity means less general or absolute volume, more trying to hammer it hard, one time and done. So there's going to be less of do this, rest, do this, and rest, and try and repeat it. And now it's going to do what we call intra-set repeatability, meaning instead of trying to get every 5-minute AMRAP to be the same at your 20-minute pace, now that 20-minute AMRAP, I want every round in that 20-minute piece to be the same. So inside the sets, they should be learning that type of pacing, which is harder because you don't get the extra block. We're starting off on Monday with a hero WOD with Kalsu. So heavy front squats and presses, going to build up good to our clean and jerk and quad burn retest. This one worked out really well on Tuesday. This wasn't initially in the plan, and you'll see how it fits, was the bicouplet. We've been doing a lot of snatch technique and advanced gymnastics work, building up to our 5-minute or 3-minute max unbroken pull-up or muscle-up work. Well, this worked out well, but if that doesn't fit for you, again, the streamlined version we have Helen for you. So you see how we're kind of making those two things fit what you need for your class. And then there's, of course, the accessory work at the end here that is optional. That, hey, where would I find that, Tim? Well, great question. You'd find that right here under accessory for Tuesday. If you want to finish up, boom, and you're set. So you're going to have all the pieces you need for some really, really killer classes. Hope you can tell my excitement. Strict press, we're building up on the press to a set of 3 and eventually to a single rep strict press here to that retest of the 5-minute or 3-minute strict handstand push-up into those lactic testers. So you'll see that's the lactic repeatability test that we've been doing. Now is just to go and hammer it. But because of those was high on the posterior chain, high on the handstand push-ups, well, what things fit really well for that is, oh my goodness, Diane benchmark worked really well and fit here. And again, it's not on a testing week, but it's something that fits where we're going and combining with some variance in there and with the intensity, right? It's one time through, you're hitting it hard, putting those movements into play a little bit as we're going there. We're increasing because we did Karen recently. I know everyone loves a ton of wall ball. Well, we're trying to really get good at our squat endurance, both for our squat retest, right, of that quad burn kind of heavy load. So we're doing some submaximal load here on, whereas on Kelly, plus increasing volume going into intensity to that jumping and wall ball, right? What does that look like for our retest? Well, look what looked really well here. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 wall ball double unders, right? So I'm hoping that everyone's starting to get how we're playing along on these pieces. And there's a method to the endurance parts, the German body comp pieces, so the endurance sets, the drop sets that we were doing in the start of these first 2 months. But now everyone not only is getting to play some really fun fitness training, but also really crush it too, which is awesome. And you're healthy because we went about it the right way there. We separated out the front squats from the clean and jerks. We did squat endurance on the last cycle. Now it's clean and jerk, which should be a fairly heavy front squat, but we're trying to spend most of our output for clean and jerks on this day. And so on Friday or Saturday, we'll be building up to heavy front squats as support, right? Because we want the back squat to go up. That was in our endurance piece. Hopefully our legs are good enough and strong enough now for additional reps on the wall ball or the leg endurance. Now we want the front squat to go up to a heavy single, which will make our clean and jerk have a little more room to get out of the bottom, right? We did a little positional work, the dead stops, the 1 1/4s. Now let's put it together to a really heavy front squat. Final piece we want to look at, we did a bunch of power snatch positional work. We've spent a lot of time on those 2 Ollie lifts this cycle, right? So now we're putting it into full power snatches on some of the days here to balance these out, right? When we have more intensity, we want to have good balance, especially in the shoulders is really important. So you're going to see a lot of different aerobic work we have that has no shoulders. We have a Diane here, heavy hinging and shoulder day. So this day, you'll see here, Russian swings, core work, biking and rowing. So no big shoulder overhead movements, and then corrective work and Turkish get-ups here to balance those out. So for every piece of intensity we do, we want to balance those out. The second piece of balancing you'll see as we go through the verticals is, as we have high shoulder output and high intensity, we want to balance out with what? Aerobic power. So that means here we have a long day of core stability tests and now running and different odd object carries in core work, challenging the core because we need this to be strong as we lock into our jerks overhead and our snatches. Your torso should be doing most of the holding of that load, not our arms. So one, we have the base of support with different absolute strength presses, single arm presses here to make sure we're balanced out from the dynamic contractions here. Torso and shoulder stability work to keep people healthy and strong to make sure when they do go to intensity, they're coming back and strong, and we're using that for their engine work because these pieces that have less complexity, hopefully that means you can go harder and nonstop on, right? Diane is really hard to go totally unbroken on, right? Unless you're crazy. It's a hard one to do. So then we lower the difficulty and we say, hey, for this one, just go, baby, get after it. It's the same thing. So we have that. We have unilateral pulling and unilateral squatting to match with the bilateral squatting on squat cleans, front squats, etc. to make sure everyone's good and balanced and healthy there. So that's the testing cycle. Come check it out. As you can tell, I'm really excited about what we put together, both from a scientific standpoint and the way it's going to work out in your class. And again, no matter which one you choose, if you choose to go all streamlined here in your document, and that's better for you coaching-wise, if you choose to do the one I call the main one, that's fine. If you choose back and forth, that's great too. It's up to you. You have access to all of it. And the feedback I've gotten is some people like to have a little of both, and I think that's really great. You're going to customize it to what you want. You have the accessory work here that also fits in with the pre-class work, so people don't need to go, hey, I'm doing my comp train, I don't want to come into class. No, you have everything you need here in your program to follow along and be coachable and not to work themselves out of your coaching. That's really a shame when that happens. So that's everything. I'll have some more videos coming out to you, email coming out to you. If you have questions, let me know. Hopefully, like I said, you're as excited as I am as everything you're going to be getting in September, and let's crush it. All right. Thank you guys so much, and let's have a great month. Thanks.